In 2017, 17-year-old Lily Marlowe moved into her cousin Harper's room after Harper was declared missing. The official report listed Harper as a probable suicide. She'd left her phone, her shoes, and a folded note near the Pine Hills Bridge, but no body was ever recovered. After 6 months with no new leads, the family stopped asking questions. The room remained untouched until Lily's mother asked her to stay with her aunt for the summer and help clean things out. That's when the timeline began to crack. On Lily's third night in the room, she discovered a Polaroid photograph under her pillow. In the photo, she appeared to be sleeping. Same room, same sheets, time-stamped at 2:41 a.m. the night before. The problem was, the bedroom door had been locked from the inside, and no one else was in the house. At least that's what her aunt told police later. Lily found more photographs under a loose floorboard, older ones. Girls, alone, sleeping, some smiling. One of them was Harper. At first, investigators believed the Polaroids were old, that they had been staged, but the image of Lily had been taken after she arrived, and the timestamp matched a missing persons report filed 4 years earlier for a different girl in a different town. Lily didn't know it yet, but she had found something no one else had, evidence the police missed or buried. Where are you from? Mention your country in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. According to the original case report, Harper's bedroom door had been locked from the inside the night she disappeared. There were no signs of forced entry, no fingerprints besides her own, and the closet, the only other possible exit, was sealed shut from the outside with a latch Harper had never used. Her aunt told officers that Harper had been moody and withdrawn for months. She said Harper had trouble sleeping, that she'd started locking her door at night. But what she didn't mention, and what Lily would later tell investigators, was the claw-like scrape on the inside edge of the closet frame. Deep, repeated, like someone had tried to pry it open from within. Lily hadn't noticed it until her 4th night. She'd pushed the dresser away to vacuum the carpet. That's when she saw the edge of the closet door had splinters, like it had been forced open, and just above the latch, someone had carved a small, crude 8 into the wood. She took a photo, sent it to a friend. The image never arrived. Her phone glitched, battery drained, and the photo vanished from her gallery. When she told her aunt what she'd found, the woman became suddenly quiet and told Lily she was imagining things. But that night, Lily recorded the closet door with her laptop camera, just to be sure. What she saw at 2:41 a.m. was never released to the public, but in the official case notes it's described in one word: impossible. The video Lily recorded was just under 6 hours long. She used her laptop's webcam, propped it up on her desk, aimed directly at the closet door. The first 4 hours showed nothing out of the ordinary, just the dim light from her nightstand, the rhythmic movement of shadows as the cars outside passed through the blinds. Then, at exactly 2:39 a.m., the closet door handle twitched. Not fully turned, not forced, just a single precise movement. 2 minutes later, at 2:41 a.m., the door creaked open half an inch. No figure, no sound, just movement. And then, for 3 full seconds, the screen distorts. The footage tears horizontally, warps, and skips a frame, a phenomenon that was later reviewed by a digital forensic expert who said the interference resembled what happens when a recording is magnetically disrupted, but no magnets were present in the room, and the laptop showed no sign of tampering. The final timestamp before the battery died was 3:06 a.m. By morning, the closet door was wide open. Lily took the laptop straight to the school tech lab. A teacher agreed to help extract the footage. Within 24 hours, the file was corrupted beyond recovery. That same night, Lily began hearing whispers from behind the closet wall. Her aunt told her to stop recording things. She said it wasn't good for her mind. But according to Lily's next journal entry, dated 2 days later, she already had a new plan, and it involved unlocking the floor again. The space beneath the loose floorboard wasn't large, but it went deeper than Lily expected. She used a butter knife to widen the opening, pulling up 2 additional planks to reveal a narrow hollow that stretched beyond the wall. At the bottom was a dust-coated shoebox wrapped in duct tape and stuffed with Polaroids. Most were grainy, unmarked. Girls in dimly lit bedrooms, some asleep, some sitting up, one smiling into the lens. The timestamps varied, some from the past year, others dating back to 2010. And near the bottom, one stood out: Harper, lying in the same bed Lily now slept in, same angle, same yellow comforter, same poster peeling at the edge. The timestamp: 2 days before Harper was reported missing. But she didn't look scared in the photo. She looked alert, awake, like she saw the person behind the camera, and she wasn't resisting. Beneath the Polaroids was something else, a torn page from a spiral notebook. Written in jagged handwriting were the words, "She watches through the walls. Don't let her copy you." Lily scanned the handwriting against Harper's old journals. It didn't match. A forensic handwriting analyst later confirmed it came from someone else, possibly older, possibly male. When Lily showed her aunt the box, her aunt took it from her without saying a word and burned it that same night in the backyard grill. No one asked her to. She told Lily it was for her own safety, but according to Lily, the Polaroids came back. 2 days after the shoebox was destroyed, Lily found a single Polaroid placed under her backpack on the kitchen table. It was one of the photos she'd seen before, the girl with the long black hair, sitting upright in bed, staring into the lens. The photo still smelled like smoke, but the back of it was clean. No soot, no burns. Her aunt denied putting it there, denied ever seeing it, denied remembering the shoebox at all. That was the day Lily began writing everything down. She dated each entry, documented what time the door creaked, what lights flickered, how often the radio turned on by itself. 3:17 a.m., 3 nights in a row. She even logged her sleep schedule, tracked her own dreams. But the more she wrote, the more the events shifted. The number of Polaroids changed. The timestamps on her photos reset. In one entry, she wrote that her bedroom door was locked at night. The next morning, her notebook read, "I leave the door open now." But she didn't remember writing that, and the ink was in a different shade of blue. She showed her journal to her friend Molly from school, hoping to prove she wasn't imagining things. Molly agreed to stay over that night, just to see the closet for herself. By 2:40 a.m., Molly was already gone. Her shoes were still by the door. Her phone was still charging, but the front door was wide open, and no one had heard her leave. What disturbed Lily most wasn't that Molly had vanished. It was that no one else seemed to notice. When she asked classmates the next day if they'd seen Molly, most said they hadn't heard from her in a while. Some even asked, "Wait, is she in our class this year?" But Lily had text messages, selfies, a voicemail from just 2 days earlier where Molly joked about ghost hunting in Harper's room. Still, when she called Molly's parents, the line went straight to voicemail, and when she searched Molly's social media, the account was blank. No posts, no followers, as if it had never existed. She tried to report it, but the officer who took her call said there was no record of anyone named Molly Jensen living in the area. Not now. Not in the past 5 years. He assumed Lily was either mistaken or stressed, but she wasn't. That night, Lily opened her journal and saw that half of Molly's name, the part she'd written herself, had faded to pencil, as if her memory was still there, but the world was trying to erase it. That was the night she went back to the closet. She sat across from it with the camera on. This time, she didn't lock the door. At 3:11 a.m., the bulb in her nightstand lamp flickered and died. In the dark, she heard the doorknob turn behind her. But when she turned, it wasn't the closet opening. It was her bedroom door, and someone was already inside. Lily didn't scream. She didn't move. For the first few seconds after the bedroom door opened, she convinced herself it was a dream. But when the door closed again, slowly, without a sound, she felt it in her chest. Whoever it was had entered the room without footsteps, without a shadow. Her laptop continued recording, pointed toward the closet, blind to the presence now behind her. When she finally turned, there was no one there. The door was shut again, latched, and the hallway behind it was empty. But her phone was no longer on the nightstand. It had been there minutes earlier, charging. She searched the room, then checked under the bed. Nothing. She found it the next morning in the kitchen cabinet, sitting upright beside a half-filled glass of water she hadn't poured. The photo gallery was open. A new Polaroid was displayed, not one she had taken, not one she remembered. It was her, again, sleeping, except the timestamp was from 4 nights earlier. Her mouth was slightly open, her left hand was stretched toward the floor, and her journal, which she always kept closed, was flipped open on the bed beside her. In the picture, someone had drawn a red circle around a sentence she couldn't make out. But when she checked the real journal, that sentence didn't exist, and neither did the page it was written on. She ripped through the notebook, searching for the missing entry. It wasn't missing. It was burned. Just the edges remained. Later that afternoon, Lily flipped through every page of her journal, looking for any other signs of tampering. Near the back, wedged between 2 entries she clearly remembered writing, was a new page. The handwriting looked like hers. The ink matched. But the words felt off. It read, "She comes when it's quiet. She comes when I stop fighting." At the bottom of the page was a date, May 12th, tomorrow. She closed the notebook immediately and checked the metadata on her phone to see when the photo had been taken. The Polaroid she'd found earlier, the one with her sleeping beside the open journal. It also showed May 12th, a full day before it was supposed to happen. That night, she set up the camera again. Same angle, same lighting. But this time, she didn't sleep. She waited. At 3:04 a.m., the hallway light, the one her aunt always kept on, flickered off. And then came a soft knock on her bedroom door. 1 knock, a pause, then 2 more. Lily didn't respond. She barely breathed. The closet door creaked open behind her, but when she turned, the camera feed showed no movement, no closet, no Lily. Just an empty room, as if she had never entered it. When she reviewed the footage the next morning, her image didn't appear until sunrise. At exactly 6:01 a.m., she blinked into frame, eyes wide, face pale, staring at the lens like she had just remembered something terrible. But the video had no sound. On May 12th, the same morning her image appeared late on the silent video, Lily walked into the Pine Hills police station with a flash drive in one hand and her journal in the other. She requested to speak with someone about a possible stalking case. Officer Greg Hanley took the report. According to his notes, Lily appeared sleep-deprived but lucid. She described the disappearing photographs, the unexplained movement in her locked room, and the presence of a person she couldn't describe, someone she'd never seen but knew was there. She handed over the flash drive. Hanley watched the video once, noted the technical glitch, then passed it to IT for evaluation. The official assessment labeled the file corrupted due to low-light data dropout. No evidence of a crime, the summary read. Possible misinterpretation by the subject. He returned the journal to her without reading it. Lily asked if there were any other recent missing person cases connected to her address. Hanley said no. But according to internal system logs accessed later by an anonymous source, the name Molly Jensen was searched on that same computer exactly 3 minutes after Lily left. The result returned a red flag, case sealed, access restricted. When Lily returned home, the closet was wide open. The contents inside, Harper's clothes, her old backpack, the stuffed bear on the top shelf, were all missing. In their place was a single Polaroid taped to the wall. It showed Lily's bedroom. but the photo was taken from inside the closet. The photo Lily found taped inside the closet wall didn't just show her bedroom, it showed the same angle, same furniture placement, same posters. But one detail was wrong. The bed wasn't hers. The comforter in the photo was light purple, decorated with faded sunflowers. She'd never owned anything like it. And on the far edge of the image, next to the nightstand, was a pair of black Converse shoes. Size 6, with white marker writing on the sides. Lily didn't own those either. She scanned the photo and used an online image matching tool, not expecting results. But one came up, an archived missing person page from 2012. Riley Archer, age 16, last seen in Pine Hills. Her parents reported she vanished from her locked bedroom during a storm. The only item missing was her purple comforter. The photo Lily found in her closet was identical to the last photo the Archer family gave police, except in this one, the closet door was wide open. Lily sent the image to the email listed on the archive, not expecting a reply. Less than 3 hours later, she received one. "Please don't show this to anyone. They told us not to talk about her. The house forgets you faster that way." It was unsigned. Lily checked her inbox again 10 minutes later. The message was gone, not deleted, gone. Even in her sent folder, the original email had vanished. Only the photo remained. But now, the girl inside it was gone too. Lily stared at the photo for hours, watching it pixel by pixel, as if the missing girl might reappear. At first, she thought it was a glitch. Maybe she had saved the wrong file or edited it by accident, but she hadn't touched it. The original scan was still in her folder, time-stamped, unchanged. Except now, the bed was empty. The closet door was still open, but Riley was no longer in the frame. It wasn't a blur or distortion. It was as if she had never been there. Just the outline of where a person should be, faint in the blanket's wrinkles, like an indentation no one remembered. Lily checked the browser history. The archive listing for Riley Archer was gone. Her missing person page now returned a 404 error. No cached versions, no backups. It was like the entire case had been erased from the internet. Lily tried searching news articles, local police reports, nothing. Even the email address she'd contacted earlier no longer existed. When she checked the laptop camera footage from the night before, the files wouldn't open. One error message after another, directory not found. She called the number listed on the original missing person page, desperate. An elderly woman answered. Her voice was quiet. "We never had a daughter," she said. "You must have the wrong house." But before hanging up, the woman whispered something else. "She knows your name now." Lily didn't sleep that night. The next morning, her journal had new handwriting. The entry appeared on the final page of Lily's journal, written in small, tightly pressed letters that looped upward at the ends, as if whoever wrote it was trying to suppress a tremor. It wasn't her handwriting. The ink was lighter than the rest, almost gray, and the pressure barely touched the paper. It read, "She's inside the wall again. She likes your voice. Don't let her copy your eyes." Lily hadn't written it. She brought the journal to school and showed her English teacher, Mrs. Keene, who recognized the style. "It looks like a child's hand," she said, then asked quietly, "Is this a prank?" Lily didn't respond. That afternoon, she took a photo of the entry and uploaded it to a missing persons handwriting archive, a tool used by volunteers comparing writing samples for cold cases. Within 2 hours, a match came back. The note was nearly identical to one left behind in the bedroom of Nora Ellis, a 6-year-old girl who disappeared in 2005 from the next town over. Her final drawing was found taped inside her closet, a girl with no face, standing behind a wall. The handwriting below it read, "I'll wear her better." The case was never solved. Lily printed everything, the entry, the archive comparison, the article, and brought it home. But by morning, the printer tray was empty. In its place sat another Polaroid. This one showed her desk. Same chair, same open notebook. But in the background, a second Lily stood in the hallway, smiling. The girl in the photo looked identical to Lily, same height, same face, same braid, but something was off. She was wearing a sweatshirt Lily didn't recognize, dark green, oversized, with a faded camp logo across the chest. Camp Long Hollow, summer 2007. Lily had never been to camp. She showed the photo to her aunt, who stared at it in silence for several seconds before saying flatly, "That's not you." Then she walked out of the room. Lily checked the closet again. The clothes inside were Harper's mostly, but one hoodie, green, old, unfamiliar, now hung on the inside hook. It hadn't been there before. She tried to log everything again. She opened her journal. The last 3 pages were gone, not torn out, just gone, like the book had always ended earlier. She checked the timestamp on the Polaroid. No number, just a faint fingerprint smudged across the corner. She scanned it into her laptop. This time, the file name generated by her device wasn't numeric. It read, "She'll do." That night, Lily set the laptop camera to record again, this time angled toward the hallway behind her. At 2:37 a.m., there was movement. The lights dimmed, the door creaked, and a figure passed by without casting a shadow. But when she watched the footage the next morning, the hallway was empty, still, silent, until the final 3 seconds. The camera flickered, and on the wall, behind Lily's sleeping form, a sentence appeared in faint marker, "You let her in." 2 days later, while organizing paperwork for an upcoming college application, Lily pulled out an old school portrait tucked inside her desk drawer, one she hadn't looked at in over a year. It had been a group photo from her sophomore year, taken in the school gym with her classmates lined up on bleachers. She remembered standing third from the right, middle row, wearing a striped red sweater. But in the photo now, her place was empty. The girl in the red sweater was still there, same face, same hair, but the expression was wrong. The smile too wide, the pupils too dark, like someone had drawn her from memory. When Lily flipped the photo over, her name was missing from the printed student list. She scanned the photo into her computer, thinking maybe it had always looked that way. The metadata told a different story. It had been modified 17 hours ago. That night, she checked her social media. Her posts were still there, but comments from friends were missing. Photos where she stood with others were now cropped, showing only her, or worse, no one at all. She called Molly's old number again, still disconnected. But this time, someone answered. Breathing, just breathing. She hung up. When she turned back toward her laptop, a new email notification blinked on the screen. No subject line, no sender name, just one line in the body text. If she takes your place, you don't get it back. Attached was another photo. This time, Lily wasn't in it. The attachment from the anonymous email wouldn't download properly. The image preview showed a familiar scene, the hallway outside Lily's bedroom, but the resolution distorted any time she tried to zoom in. She brought it to a local private investigator, someone her mother once hired years earlier during a custody case. The man wasn't a specialist in digital forensics, but he had connections. He agreed to forward the file to an analyst he trusted. 2 days later, he called Lily and told her not to come by again. The analyst had quit without explanation. No voicemail, no email. Just a resignation letter with one sentence written in pen across the bottom. She's not a copy, she's a replacement. Lily demanded her photo back. The PI said there was no record of it being sent. That night, the image appeared in her phone's camera roll, under a folder she didn't create. Inside were duplicates of her existing photos, slightly altered. Smiles too forced, eyes fixed on things just outside the frame, background objects rearranged. In one, her reflection in the mirror was delayed by half a second. She showed it to her aunt. This time, her aunt broke. She sat Lily down and said very softly, Harper told me the same things before she disappeared. The noises, the door, the mirror. I didn't believe her either. Then she whispered, "It's not the room, it's the girl inside it." Lily didn't ask what she meant. She was too afraid she already knew. Lily couldn't shake what her aunt said. "It's not the room, it's the girl inside it." She decided to go back through the original case files. Harper's disappearance had been ruled a probable suicide, but no official body had ever been recovered. Still, Lily requested a copy of the original police report through a classmate whose brother worked in city records. The file came back 2 days later, and buried inside the scanned documents was a page she didn't expect. A 1-page autopsy summary for Harper Marlowe. Time of death, April 3rd. Cause, undetermined. But Harper's disappearance hadn't been reported until April 17th, 2 weeks later. The name and photo matched. So did the dental ID, but there were no photos of the body, no lab analysis, no chain of custody. Just a brief signed document confirming she was no longer living, with no notes about recovery or burial. The funeral had been closed casket. Her aunt never spoke about it. Lily brought the file back to the school library and scanned it using the metadata checker she'd used before. The system flagged the file, not because it was fake, but because it had been digitally modified within the last month. The signature on the report had been backdated. Lily printed the report and folded it into her journal. That night, her journal went missing. She found it in the closet, but it wasn't hers anymore. Every page had changed. Every entry was written by someone else, and they all began with her name. She flipped through the journal slowly, her fingers trembling as she skimmed entry after entry. Each page began the same. Lily is... But none of them finished with anything she remembered writing. Lily is sleeping now. Lily is almost ready. Lily is better when she doesn't speak. The handwriting mimicked hers perfectly. Same curves, same loops, but too careful, almost like someone practicing. On one page, a line stood alone in the center. Lily is not yours anymore. She took the journal to a handwriting expert downtown, claiming it was part of a creative writing project. The analyst studied it for less than 5 minutes before asking if Lily had ever been diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder. Lily hadn't. When she explained further, the closet, the Polaroids, the altered files, the woman said gently, "You might want to speak to someone, a professional." But before Lily left, the analyst said one last thing. "The person who wrote this, they're trying to become you." That night, Lily checked the mirror. Her reflection blinked when she didn't. It wasn't obvious, just a fraction of a second delay. But once she saw it, she couldn't unsee it. She turned away and heard something tap from the inside of the closet. One slow tap, then 3 quick ones. She opened the door. Nothing there, except her backpack, the one she always kept on the chair. Inside was her phone, unlocked, recording. The video showed her sleeping and her reflection sitting up in the mirror, staring. Lily replayed the recording frame by frame. The phone had captured over 5 hours of footage, beginning just after midnight. Most of it showed her motionless in bed, the room dimly lit by the hallway nightlight. But at exactly 3:02 a.m., the footage shifted. The mirror on the wall just behind the edge of the frame began to reflect something that wasn't happening in real time. In the reflection, Lily's body sat up, slowly, mechanically, while the real Lily remained completely still. Then came the sound, a whisper, distorted and quiet, layered like multiple voices stacked on top of each other. The words were hard to make out at first, but enhanced playback revealed one repeated phrase: "I'm still learning how to be her." The voice was hers, but her mouth never moved. Her breathing never changed. Her pulse, visible faintly on her neck, never sped up. The voice was coming from her body, but not originating there. Lily sent the file to a classmate who edited horror shorts for YouTube. He texted her back 5 minutes later. "Very funny. How'd you fake the sync error? When she insisted it wasn't a joke, he ghosted her. The next morning, the video was gone from her phone, deleted, not moved, not hidden, erased. In its place was a voice memo she hadn't recorded. One sentence, played in her own voice. "I'm not the one who'll disappear this time." She checked the mirror again. Her reflection didn't move, but it smiled. That Monday, Lily was called to the front office during third period. The woman behind the desk smiled politely and handed her a form. "Your withdrawal papers," she said. Lily stared at it. Her name was printed at the top. Her student ID, her birthday. The date of withdrawal was stamped for next Friday. "I didn't request this," she said. The secretary frowned, then turned the screen toward her. "It's already been signed." And it had, her signature, perfectly matching every form she'd signed that year. But she hadn't touched it. The counselor confirmed it had been submitted online through her student portal. When she tried logging in on her phone, the password had been changed. The security questions were all wrong. Her mother's maiden name, incorrect. Her first pet, wrong. When she asked her teacher if she could stay enrolled, the woman hesitated before saying, "We thought you already left." That night, Lily opened her closet to find her school uniform missing. In its place was the green hoodie from the earlier Polaroid, freshly folded, tags cut. She checked the time, 2:03 a.m. Her phone buzzed. A calendar notification popped up. Move out confirmed. 5 days. She hadn't created it. She deleted the event, only to find it reappeared on her laptop, then on her aunt's phone, then on the television screen in the living room. Wherever she looked, the same phrase appeared. "She has your schedule now." It was no longer just a presence. It was organizing her life. After the incident at school, Lily went to the free campus clinic, hoping to prove she still existed in the most basic, factual way. She requested her medical file. The nurse printed it out and handed it over without question. Name, Lily Marlowe. Dobe, correct. Address, still Harper's. But under blood type, it read B negative. Lily had always been O positive. She remembered vividly. She'd even donated blood last year at the community center. When she brought it up, the nurse double-checked the system. "Says you were retested last week," she said. "We updated the file accordingly." Lily hadn't been to the clinic in months. The nurse tapped the screen again, then frowned. "Actually," she said quietly, "it says you came in twice last week." The dates were 3 days apart. Both visits were logged under Lily's name, her ID. But she had been home, recording, documenting, trying to stay awake through the nights. When she asked to see the security footage from the clinic, she was told it was erased every 48 hours due to privacy protocols. "But you signed in," the nurse insisted, flipping the clipboard. The handwriting matched Lily's perfectly. That night, Lily opened her laptop and tried logging into her banking app, just to check her balance. Access denied, wrong password. She reset it using her email. The new balance read 0. But the transaction history showed a recent charge. 1 bus ticket, outbound, name, Lily Marlowe. Destination, Long Hollow Camp. She had never bought it. Determined to prove she never bought that ticket, Lily went to the downtown bus terminal with the transaction ID in hand. The clerk at the counter typed it in, shrugged, and pointed toward the security office. "Paid in cash," he said. "Picked up at kiosk, 2 days ago." Inside the security room, an attendant named Marcus replayed the footage from that night, 9:18 p.m. The camera faced the kiosk line. Lily saw the back of a girl with her exact build, same posture, same long braid. The girl stepped up to the kiosk, selected a ticket, then turned just enough for the camera to catch her face. It was Lily's face. Same features, same mole under the jaw. But the eyes were different, colder, calculating, and she was wearing that same green hoodie from the Polaroid. Lily leaned forward, watching closely. The girl glanced up at the camera and smiled. The footage ended. Marcus paused the screen. "So, that's not you?" he asked. Lily didn't answer. When she requested a copy, he said he'd need supervisor approval. When she came back 30 minutes later, the file was gone. Marcus was gone. A new attendant was on shift, and he claimed there was no record of the footage ever existing. "We only keep 24 hours, he said. That night, when Lily checked her closet, her suitcase was packed. Her old clothes were folded, her phone was fully charged, and a printed itinerary sat on top. Bus route, cabin assignment, and a note in her handwriting, "Don't forget who you are." The next morning, Lily walked into the kitchen, disheveled, eyes still bloodshot from watching her closet all night. Her aunt was pouring coffee and looked up casually, almost too casually. "Forgot something?" she asked. Lily paused. "What do you mean?" Her aunt tilted her head. "You left already, said goodbye, said you were going early." Lily's skin went cold. "I've been in my room all night," she said. Her aunt just blinked. "Then who did I hug in the driveway?" That afternoon, Lily logged into her email to send herself copies of everything, the photos, the bus ticket, the calendar entries, but her inbox was empty. Not just deleted, erased, no account recovery option. Her backup email was gone too. She opened the family laptop from the living room and tried logging into any of her old accounts. Each one responded the same way, user not found. Even her student ID had been deactivated. She rushed to her school's administration office, but the secretary greeted her like a stranger. "Do you have an appointment?" she asked. Lily pointed to the ID on her lanyard. The woman scanned it and frowned. "This ID belongs to a deactivated student, transferred out last week." Lily's voice cracked. "Transferred to where?" The woman didn't even look up. "We don't keep records on closed files." That night, Lily received one final calendar notification. No title, no location, just a time, 2:41 a.m. The same time every photo had been taken. The same time Harper disappeared. At 9 a.m. the next day, Lily walked into the Pine Hills Police Department and asked for Officer Greg Hanley, the one who had taken her original report. The receptionist typed for a moment, then looked confused. "We don't have anyone by that name," she said. Lily insisted. "He took my statement 2 weeks ago. I gave him a flash drive. He logged it." The woman shook her head. "We've never had a Greg Hanley on staff." Lily asked for the case file she submitted. The woman clicked through her screen, paused, then replied, "You're not in the system." Lily's throat tightened. "Check Harper Marlowe. She was my cousin." More typing. Then, "There's no active or archived case under that name." Lily pulled out the autopsy summary she had printed days ago and slid it across the desk. The woman skimmed it, then frowned. "This is a fake," she said flatly. "We don't issue reports like this. And this signature, it's from a different department." The woman stood. "I'm going to have to ask you to leave." Lily took back the document and stepped out into the parking lot, her hands shaking. On her way home, she passed a flyer taped to a street lamp. It was weathered and yellowed with a familiar face on it. Heron, but the name beneath said, Harper Marlowe. She tore it down. That night at 2:41 a.m., her bedroom light turned on by itself. The closet door opened, and someone whispered from inside, "You're doing better this time." By morning, Lily had only one plan left: prove she had ever existed. She pulled the box of old photo albums from the attic, her baby pictures, school portraits, vacation snapshots, the ones her mother used to keep labeled by year. But something was off. The handwriting on the cover labels, once so familiar, had changed slightly. Cleaner, smoother. She flipped to a photo of her third birthday. The pink cupcake dress, the yellow balloons. The image hadn't changed, but the caption underneath had. It read, "Harper, age 3, Pine Hills." Lily's face was in every photo, but the name was no longer hers. Page after page, the life she remembered had been relabeled. Family beach trips, first piano recital, the hospital photo from the night she broke her arm. All of it said Harper. When she brought one of the albums down to show her aunt, the woman froze. "That's Harper," she said softly. "That's always been Harper." Lily tried correcting her, her voice rising. "That's me. That's my birthday. That's my dress." But her aunt backed away, hands trembling. "Honey, I think you need help." That night, Lily opened her closet to find a mirror leaning against the back wall. She didn't own it. It hadn't been there before. And taped to the glass was one last Polaroid, an image of Lily standing in the hallway. But in the reflection behind her, the girl wore a green hoodie, and she wasn't facing the camera. She was facing Lily. The next morning, Lily packed a bag. No more cameras, no more recordings. She left the Polaroids in the closet, turned her phone off, and walked 5 blocks to the train station with cash in her coat pocket. She asked for the next ticket out, any direction, any destination. The man behind the glass nodded and asked for ID. She handed him her license. He paused, scanned it, then looked up, confused. "This ID's already been flagged as processed," he said. "You left 2 days ago." Lily insisted she hadn't. She begged. He turned his screen toward her. On the monitor was her face, captured on platform security. The timestamp matched the night her calendar alert first mentioned departure. She asked to see the footage. He refused. "It's restricted, internal issue," he said. As she turned to leave, she passed a wall-mounted schedule board. On it, in printed paper tiles, one route blinked in red. Long Hollow Camp, final boarding today, status, closed. She returned home to find her aunt gone, the house silent, her room darker than she remembered, and her closet wide open. Inside, the mirror was gone, but the wall behind it had changed. What was once flat now had a visible seam, a narrow outline of a door drawn in chalk. Her journal sat neatly on the bed, a sticky note on the cover. It read, "Turn around." She did, just in time to see her own face staring back at her from the hallway. She froze. The girl standing in the hallway was identical to her in every way. Height, eyes, posture, even the slight tilt of her shoulders from the old backpack injury she'd had in middle school. But this version of Lily didn't move. She didn't breathe, and she didn't blink. Lily took one cautious step backward into her bedroom. The other, Lily didn't follow. Instead, she smiled, too slow, too exact. Then she raised one hand and pointed toward the closet. Lily turned. The chalk outline on the wall was glowing faintly now, not with light, but with a kind of shimmer, like heat rising off pavement. She looked back. The hallway was empty. The other Lily was gone. The floor creaked behind her. She spun. No one there. On her bed, the journal flipped open on its own. Pages turned rapidly, like a wind only it could feel. Then it stopped. A single sentence had been written in thick black ink in handwriting that mimicked her own, but pressed harder, angrier. "You're taking too long." Her phone vibrated. It was off. Still, it buzzed again. She looked down. One new video file. No title. She pressed play. It was footage of her sleeping, but not in her room, in a cabin, one she didn't recognize. The walls were wooden, the sheets gray. A tag on the bed frame read, "Bunk 8, Long Hollow." In the background, the closet door opened, and someone stepped out, wearing her face and her voice and her name. The next morning, Lily went to the county records office, her last attempt to anchor herself to something official, legal, factual. She requested a copy of her birth certificate. The clerk printed it, handed it over without hesitation. She stared at the page. Her birth date was correct, her mother's name, the hospital. But the baby listed was Harper Marlowe. The field for given name at birth was filled in. It was not Lily. The surname matched, but the first name didn't belong to her. She asked the clerk to check again. The woman narrowed her eyes. "This is the only file under your social security number," she said. Lily pulled out the ID from her wallet, the driver's license, the school card, even her old library card. They all matched, but the name on each was now Harper. When she tried to speak, her voice cracked. "I'm Lily," she whispered. "I've always been Lily." The clerk smiled politely, already turning away. "Then I suggest you update your paperwork." That night her phone rang for the first time in days. No caller ID. She let it ring, frozen. On the fourth try, she answered. No one spoke. Just a soft recording of her own voice asking, "Who do you think you are?" Then silence. When she looked out the window, a bus was idling at the curb. No one inside. The door was open. Its digital display flashed. Long hollow. Final boarding. And on her doorstep, her suitcase was already packed. Lily didn't remember falling asleep, but she woke to the sound of her aunt's voice calling from downstairs. Not panicked, not worried, just casual. "Harper, breakfast." She stayed in bed, heart thudding, eyes locked on the ceiling. It wasn't a mistake. She could hear the name clearly. Harper. She got up slowly, walked to the hallway, and looked down over the banister. Her aunt moved through the kitchen like nothing had changed, humming softly, setting 2 plates. Lily whispered, "It's me," but her voice barely left her throat. She stepped back into her room and froze. The door now had a small wooden plaque nailed above it, the kind you'd buy at a craft store. It read, "Harper's Room." She yanked it off the wall and threw it across the floor. Inside, everything had shifted. Her posters gone, replaced with Harper's old drawings, her sheets swapped for the yellow comforter she remembered from the early Polaroid. Her journal was gone, her laptop gone, her backpack zipped and leaning against the dresser. When she opened it, her phone buzzed inside. One notification, photo upload complete. The gallery now held only one image, Lily smiling. But this time she wasn't in her room. She was standing outside a wooden cabin marked with a number, 8. In the photo, a shadowed figure stood behind the window watching. Lily touched her own face. It still felt like hers, but her reflection on the closet mirror didn't blink when she did. Again. Lily walked into the school library one last time. She didn't know what she was hoping to find. A record, a face, a sentence that proved she had been real. She pulled the most recent yearbook off the shelf, the one released just a few weeks ago. She flipped quickly to her grade, scanning the faces. Her name wasn't there. Where her photo should have been, there was a black square. Below it, in thin white text, "In memory of Lily Marlowe, missing since October 14th. The breath left her chest. That was 7 months ago. That was before she'd even moved into Harper's room. She flipped to the back, to the memorial pages. There it was again. Her face, the wrong date. No mention of Harper at all. She grabbed a pen and scratched her name out, over and over, tearing into the page. When the librarian approached, Lily asked when the books had been printed. "Last month," she said, "but the edits were submitted by a family member." Lily whispered, "Which family?" The librarian frowned. "Harper's aunt." The hallway outside the library suddenly felt longer than it used to. The lights dimmed. Her phone vibrated again. New notification. Check-in complete. Cabin 8. Welcome back. She looked up to find her locker, now labeled H. Marlowe. Inside was the green hoodie, folded, waiting. She stepped back. Her own face stared at her from the reflection of the locker's small mirror. But her eyes were brown now. Not green, not hers. 3 days later, the house was quiet. The bedroom was empty, the closet stood open, and the room's door, once labeled Lily's, now bore no name at all. According to neighbors, the aunt said her niece had gone to stay with other family. According to school records, Lily Marlowe had been officially withdrawn. According to the Department of Vital Records, her file was sealed. But inside the closet, behind the false wall, authorities later found a journal, not Harper's, not Lily's. A third one, water-damaged, with no cover. Each page held only one sentence, repeated over and over in different variations. I know who I am. I know who I am. I know who I was. But the handwriting changed slightly with each line, as if it had been written by many hands trying to mimic the same voice. The final page was different, a sentence scrawled in black marker, erratic and wide. She doesn't need to steal your life if she convinces you to give it to her. There was no signature, but a single Polaroid was taped below. It showed the exterior of a wooden cabin, number 8, just before dusk. In the window, a silhouette stood, not quite human in shape, not quite wrong either. That photo is still archived in the Pine Hills Missing Persons file, though it was never made public. And on the back of it, written in fading ink, are 5 words investigators never explained. She never left. You did.